Iranian armed forces wrote on a missile that struck Tel Aviv in memory of the victims of Epstein Island.
I predicted this. I said that justice will be served for the women and children harmed in them files and in other situations due to the Venus and Aries transit. Let's rewind
Again,
back.
we've heard about them files, right? Them files. And so I wouldn't be surprised if, women and children's rights are being fought for, but also being fought against. So that's something to be aware of.
Then they hide media from us. Do y'all know that Tel Aviv is being bombed to smithereens? Do y'all know all that tax dollars that was bragging about that damn dome is not doing nothing? How ironic. The two nations that benefit the most from the Epstein files are the ones waging war.
Well, I predicted that too. I predicted that basically there's going to be information out that we are not aware of. It's going to be like smoke and mirrors, and it's going to be hard for us to find that information. And I highlighted again the areas and where this could happen. Israel happens to be one of those areas. Let's take a look. We're rewinding it back.
Venus is also sextile Pluto. And as we know, Pluto is all about change and transformation and regeneration. But overall, like, Pluto represents the things that are in the dark, right? And so these are like political underground, spies, organized crime, hidden wealth, violence, that there's like mystery behind it. Things just literally that's in the dark that eventually is brought into light. And so we can be looking forward to that energy, but it will be a little bit difficult. And it's because Venus is also conjoined to Neptune and Saturn. It seems to be that there is some hidden information and some information that's being restricted, showing that Saturn energy off of people's own interests because Saturn's in Aries. But with that Neptune, it's showing how things are being like hidden and foggy. And it's like you have the information, but you really don't. Saturn, again, is associated with death too. Neptune is associated more with collectivism, but also mobs and secret plots and fraud and swindling and scams and things like that, as well as vices, especially with Saturn also associated with government. Smells a little bit fishy with that. But there's like a lot that's happening in the secret that we are not fully aware of. And I think that Saturn-Neptune conjunction actually showed that and how it resulted into the attacks in Iran.
It's costing them the most too. Iran destroys the radar system at the heart of the U.S. missile defense. I read that over $1 trillion in military bases has been sabotaged within a couple of days that took them 30 to 40 years to build.
You guessed it. I predicted that too with the Venus Aries transit. Again, pointing out places where it's happening.
I definitely see the connection of possibly money being spent on these things. Because again, Venus represents money. And the tricky thing is when Mars and Venus are usually associated with each other, what could happen is that money gets spent quickly. It speaks of them like burning through the money, right? And so that energy could definitely be expressed. Overspending due to military forces or trying to actually put out fires, metaphorically as well as literally.
And why are the leaders of these two nations trying to frame the conflict with Iran as a religious war? It didn't stop at Christian nationalism. By using theological beliefs to justify actions, mobilize political opinion, and leverage support, Mitchell, the professor at Durham University, says that these folks are smoking dope and dog food. They believe that we gonna believe that they fighting the holy war unless they fighting for the devil. What this means is that the Iranians is trying to bring us justice on the Epstein files for the American government even attempt to. Education is elevation.
So yeah, that basically goes along with what I was saying. They're hiding information, making it seem like it's a religious war, and it's not a religious war. And again, justice being served for children and women through brutal force. Venus and Aries transit 2026. My goodness. Let's take one more look at that map so you can see the areas that I highlighted. The areas highlighted are the areas that will be affected by the Venus Aries transit. We're going to take a zoom in and you can see that Israel and Palestine are highlighted as well as Iran. What's interesting is Israel is right at that Venus midheaven line. Check out my YouTube for more.